right, now look, today I'm finna show y'all how to make some of the most absolutely divine, do you hear me? Divine Gingersnap cookies you will ever have. They are chewy yet firm. They have the perfect amount of spice. They're just absolutely everything, honey. So this is what you're going to need. You're going to need to get yourself some molasses, maple extract. You're going to need 1 large egg that's at room temperature, some vegetable shortening, unsalted butter, so 1 stick. I'm going to be using the bourbon vanilla bean paste, but of course you can use whatever vanilla bean paste you got. You're going to need allspice, cinnamon, baking soda, flour, and of course you're also going to need yourself some sugar. So that's all the ingredients you're going to need, all right? So you see that? You see that? You see that? Don't ask me for no damn ingredient list. Now, come on. So you're going to move over to a hand mixer, a standing mixer, or you can do it with a hand mixer. That's totally fine. And you're going to cream together your butter and your sugar. So like I said, that's 1 stick of unsalted butter, 1 cup of white granulated sugar, and about 1/4 of a cup of vegetable shortening. You're going to cream that together until that gets nice and smooth. And then after that, we're then going to move on with starting to add in some divine molasses. Now, let me tell you something. The only time I really mess with molasses is when I'm making cookies like this, because beyond that, I don't really like the taste of molasses. Like growing up, my grandmother used to put molasses on pancakes, and I just did not understand it. I couldn't get with it. So I've just added in 1/4 of a cup of molasses, and I'm also going to crack in 1 large room temperature egg. And if you're not used to baking, I would always advise you to crack your eggs separately into a separate bowl. Number 1, that helps you avoid getting in any eggshells. And number 2, you don't want to run the risk of cracking a bad egg into all of that sugar and stuff. You just spend all that time creaming together, okay? Now, one thing that kind of set my recipe apart from the original recipe is that I decided that I wanted to use real ginger. I did not want to use ginger powder. So I put about 2 teaspoons of ginger paste in this, and let me tell you, it makes it a game changer. This is a recipe that I found online about 4 or 5 years ago, and I've kind of been making some alterations to it to kind of suit my own taste buds, and now I have fallen head over heels in love with these cookies every single time Christmas comes around. I've added in 1 teaspoon of that vanilla bean paste, and I'm also going to be adding in 1/8 of a teaspoon of that maple extract, which again, it just boosts the flavor to like the next level. So I'm going to cream all of that together until it gets nice and smooth. Now in a separate bowl, I'm going to start to mix together my dry ingredients, which is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm also going to be adding in allspice. I'm going to be adding in cinnamon, baking soda. I'm going to give all of that a whisk together. Don't worry. I'm going to make sure that I put the exact amount of measurements on the screen for you guys so you don't have to stress yourself out about that. There you go. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon as well as allspice. I'm now going to gradually start to add that to my mixer just little by little so that I do not start to overwork that gluten. That is always one of the biggest mistakes with making cookies. People just over mix it, and then you overwork the gluten, and then that's how you end up with a tough cookie. So frankly, once I start to see that a majority of the white is mixed in, I turn off that mixer and I do the rest by hand, so that way, again, I can avoid over mixing it. Now, these are cookies that you do need to chill. I know, I understand, patience, but they only need to chill about 3 to 4 hours. They don't have to be overnight. 3 to 4 hours is more than enough time. I measure out about a tablespoon or so of cookie dough at a time, and then I roll them out, and then I roll them around in a bowl of some granulated sugar. Now, once you do roll these out, you just want to partially flatten them, not too much, but just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, don't go crazy with them. You don't need to flatten them out completely because they would do that on their own. But just a slight little press down in the middle. That's all you got to do. And then again, I roll them around in some white granulated sugar. At this point, you want to have your oven preheated at 375 degrees because we are going to be baking these bad boys for 15 minutes. Yes, 15 minutes. Make sure that you set your timer because you do not want to go above 15 minutes. When they come out of the oven, they are going to appear super, super soft. That is on purpose because they are going to continue to firm up as they start to cool down. So you don't want them to come out of the oven already hard as a brick, or the cookies have just been ruined at that point. You want these cookies to still have just a little bit of chew to them, and that's the key. Making sure that you allow them to chill and making sure that you don't overbake them. Once you take them out of the oven, they're going to come out looking like money. every single time. Every single time. I let them sit on the rack for about a minute or so before I then transfer them over to a wire rack where I will allow them to finish cooling off completely. Now, as far as that timing, that's really up to you. If you're impatient at that point, go for them. I like to let them sit for about 10 to 15 minutes before I start to serve them. These cookies are insane, you guys. I'm telling you, they will make a fantabulous, yes, I said fantabulous gift if you guys are making cookie boxes for the holidays. They're extraordinary. If you guys have any other cookie recipes that you guys want to see, leave it down in the comment section below. I would love for you guys to come over to support my YouTube channel, which is Tobias Young. All of that information, of course, is always available in the link above. But yeah, these cookies were divine, and you're going to love them. Trust me. If you have taste buds like me, you're going to love them. They come out chewy yet firm, the perfect amount of spice with the ginger. Child, just have yourself a ball. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye, honey.